Serial killers have always captured the public's imagination. Everybody's heard of Ed Gein and Ted Bundy, and we're fascinated by them for good reason. I mean, what makes people
into monsters?
Well, you might want to ask HH Holmes that. He's the OG. He was a real wild man. Like, wild as in completely messed up, psycho, disturbing, freaky, killer, son of a bitch. That kind of crazy wild man. H.H. Holmes was active in Chicago around the time of the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. The World's Columbian Exposition was a World's Fair, and it was held to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Columbus's arrival in the New World. It became a symbol of American exceptionalism, the idea that America is inherently different from every other country in the world. Yet perhaps H.H. Holmes' murder hotel was also a symbol of this. I'm reaching, I know. Born in 1861, he became a doctor at age 23. He traveled and had odd jobs around America, but rumors followed him, and certain people disappeared. And when people began to look at Holmes, he would quickly move on to the next town. He arrived in Chicago in 1886, where he obtained a job at a drugstore. Later, Holmes offered to buy the drugstore from the owner, which she agreed. It was to be paid for in monthly installments, and then the owner disappeared. Of course, she disappeared. We've all seen this movie before. Never to be seen again. When Holmes was asked where she went, he would say she moved to California to be with relatives. So much easier to be a serial killer back then. You could just make up shit. Next, he purchased an empty lot across from the drugstore, where he built a 3-story block-long hotel, dubbed by locals as the Castle. It was named the World's Fair Hotel in honor of the exposition. The ground floor of the hotel contained Holmes' relocated drugstore. The upper floors contained a labyrinth of rooms, with doorways opening to brick walls, oddly angled hallways, and stairs that led nowhere. During construction, Holmes constantly hired and fired workers, so only he truly understood the layout of the building. And then the murders began. He mostly selected female victims from among his employees. He murdered by locking people in soundproof bedrooms fitted with gas lines where they could be asphyxiated at any time. He hanged them in secret hanging chambers. He locked them in a vault where they would suffocate. He would throw them in a secret room that was solid brick on all sides with only a trapdoor in the ceiling, where they would die of hunger and thirst. He installed a secret metal chute which led to the basement, where he would bury bodies in lime pits, dissect them, strip them of flesh, or craft into skeleton models. Through his connections from medical school, he could sell off the bones and organs with little difficulty. Around this time, Holmes developed a right-hand man named Benjamin Pitezel, who became, for want of a better word, his pet creature. At one point, Holmes met a railroad heiress named Minnie Williams. They entered into a relationship, and she moved in with him in 1893. Holmes was able to persuade her to transfer her deed to property in Texas to a man named Alexander Bond, which was just one of Holmes's aliases. He proposed to Minnie and encouraged her to invite her sister Annie over to Chicago. While giving Annie a tour of his hotel, he locked her in his vault, where she asphyxiated. Minnie disappeared not long after. Holmes later left Chicago as the economy slumped, where he moved to Texas and attempted to create another castle. He soon moved on and developed a plan to fake his own death to collect on the insurance policy. However, the insurance company became suspicious and refused to pay, so Holmes concocted a similar plan with his pet creature Pitezel. They set up in Philadelphia, where Pitezel set himself up under the name B.F. Perry, an inventor who would be mysteriously killed in an explosion in his laboratory. Holmes was supposed to find a body that could be used to play Pitezel's corpse, to work in this fake death scheme. However, Holmes, he decided he would rather use the real thing. So, he set Pitezel on fire. Yeah. He later killed Pitezel's children by locking them in a trunk and suffocating them. Finally, the authorities became too suspicious of Holmes. They interviewed staff at his hotel in Chicago and found bodies buried in the basement. They found hair, presumed to be Minnie and Annie Williams. They found bones at the bottom of an acid pit. Inside stoves, they found hair and clothing. He was finally captured by Pinkerton agents in 1894. Holmes confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto. a confession for which he was paid $7,500, which is roughly $200,000 in today's money, by William Randolph Hearst's newspapers. Holmes also claimed he was possessed by the devil. In 1896, he was hanged in Philadelphia. However, the hanging was botched. His neck did not snap. He was slowly strangled for 15 minutes before he died. Interestingly, the murder castle was destroyed by fire in 1895. 2 men were seen entering and exiting half an hour later. People believed they entered to destroy evidence the police hadn't found, with some thinking there may have been more involved than anyone suspected. Holmes confessed to 27 murders, 9 of which were confirmed, but it's believed that the actual death count is about 200. So there you have it, the story of HH Holmes, one of the first documented serial killers, and without a doubt one of the scariest. Murder hotels, secret passageways, high body count, gruesomeness. The HH Holmes story, it actually really has it all. Even a gruesome ending for the killer himself at the end. It's like a nice, sphere of disgusting, gruesome sickness. So, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Mike out.
Always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without